Leafs Nation with the buds off today after their win against Chicago a couple nights ago, getting ready for Detroit there tomorrow night. We were all not expecting news to drop today. But alas, it did, as the Leafs have locked up Morgan Rielly to an 8-year, $60 million contract, which is an average annual value of $7.5 million. People are going to hate on it, of course, because that's Leaf fans. I love us dearly, but there's going to be a lot of them that say overpaid, because that's just the negativity this fan base plays with. And that's fine. But a little bit later on, I'm going to run through the list of all the guys making more money than Morgan Rielly and tell me some guys that don't deserve those contracts, but they are making the good money. Rielly is only 27 years old. He's right in the heart of his prime, the prime of his career. And he was an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. Would he have got more in free agency? Absolutely. But he chose to stay here. So $7.5 million does not seem like a far out stretch. When the Chicago Blackhawks signed a guy like Seth Jones, everyone's looking at the Rielly deal and maybe in that realm. Well, he didn't get that. $7.5 million is the final number at $60 million over 8 years. First off, I want to get your thoughts on the contract. Not just off of angry Leaf fans, as an actual fan watching the game, knowing what this team's all about, and then seeing Morgan Rielly. My take is, look, it's a lot of money, 7.5, no doubt. But if you wanted to bring back Morgan Rielly, you had to do that. It's not like Morgan Rielly's going to be like, you offered me an 8-year, $3 million. Sure, why not? Of course not. He's not that stupid. And if you let him walk, you trade the guy, who's your defenseman? Who's anybody on your core? Oh, you got Muzzin, and now Justin Hall's on getting sacked tomorrow. Tells you how good he is. Saying he hasn't taken that gigantic step that he can replace a Rielly. So why would you do that? So you lock him up for an 8-year deal. Now the cap hit looks bad because of the amount of massive contracts this team has. The real interesting thing is you look at the contract Frederik Andersen got, right? And we signed Mrazek. They were very similar deals. A little bit more money for Freddie. I believe he got a year less than Mrazek did. So the questions were like, well, they had the money. Why didn't they throw it at him? Zach Hyman, they didn't throw the money at Zach Hyman. Why was that? Was that to keep Morgan Rielly around, right? Obviously, Morgan Rielly was making $5 million, I believe it was, before this new extension. So he only went up 2.5. So considering, guys, where he was at when he signed that contract before, right, and what he's doing now for this team, look, is he still a tough time to watch at times defensively? Yes, he is, and I've mentioned it in a few videos. But is he going to give you so much upside like he did in the last game, pitching and getting that first goal to cue the comeback in the last game? Yeah, he did. So there's good and bads with Morgan Rielly. So then there's question marks, right? Well, did you not sign Zach Hyman? Did you not sign Frederik Andersen for this reason? To bring him back a Morgan Rielly, to give you that flexibility? Quite possibly. Now let's rip through these names. People are going to still be mad, which is fine. These are the top paid D-men, starting from top to right where Morgan Rielly's at. Okay, here we go. Erik Karlsson, Drew Doughty, Roman Josi. I can't argue those. When they were getting those contracts, they were some of the top defensemen in the league. PK Subban, Dougie Hamilton just this past year. Cale Makar, good young player. I think he's having an off season to start at least. Alex Pietrangelo, Miro Heiskanen, Oliver Ekman-Larsson in Vancouver, Jacob Trouba, John Carlson, Thomas Chabot, Brent Burns, Victor Hedman, Shea Weber, Quinn Hughes, Jared Spurgeon, and Aaron Ekblad is making 7.5 as well as Morgan Rielly. You can't sit here and tell me that Morgan Rielly is not as good as any of those guys, right? You just can't. Well, he's not as good as Thomas Chabot. Well, I mean, there's arguments there. And Chabot's making 8 a season. So, the fact that you got Rielly for 7.5, if you look at all those contracts, and I didn't even mention Seth Jones in there, making 9. I believe it's 9. So you look at the Rielly deal, and it's like, well, maybe it's not as bad as we think. Plus, you got him locked up for 8 years. You have that guy there, right? Now, obviously, if you put it together, Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Neal, all those contracts together, they're making up quite a large portion of our cap. And it was even bigger, or it was smaller before this deal got done. But you got to realize, you got to look at the business side of things. if you didn't sign Morgan Rielly, would your team be better next year? Well, of course not. So in hindsight, you had to do this. You had to lock him up, and they didn't overpay. Let's put it that way, right? They didn't, the odds of you getting him for $5 million the way you signed him before, you're nuts, right? Delusional fan if you think they're getting $5 million or even $6 million for Morgan Rielly. It's delusional. 7.5 is a very good deal for Morgan Rielly. Some people are going to disagree, and that's okay. But if you're a true fan and you know this team and you know Rielly and you know what he means to this team, 7.5, and you know the NHL, like I just reamed off names, it's not bad. It's not bad by any means. Now, obviously, will the contract work for the Leafs down the road? Will it hinder them down the road? It's possible. 7.5 is a tradable contract. If worst comes to worst, it is a tradable deal. Same with the Willie Nylander trade, which I think would be ridiculous to make that deal right now. Now, another little thing about the Rielly contract, he has a no-trade clause through the first 6 years of his tenure with the Leafs. Obviously, if he waives it, then he can be traded anywhere. And then in the final 2 years, he has I believe it's the final 2 years, it's a 10-team no-trade clause. So that's the way that it's all structured with Morgan Rielly. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. I mean, as much as I've tried to tell you guys my take on it, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you still not like the deal? Even after everything I've told you, that's fine. That's totally agree. I want to hear why in the comments below. All right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this shorter video, but this is more or less a discussion in the comments. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed this one. Hit the subscribe button if you guys are not already. Comment down below. Thoughts on the video, thoughts on the re-signing of Morgan Rielly, or I guess the contract extension of Morgan Rielly going into next season, because that's when it starts to kick in, the $7.5 million for Rielly. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Twitter link is down below, so if you want to fire me a DM on your take about the Morgan Rielly instead of firing in the comments, you can do so there. Or you can do it on Instagram. It's all the links are down in the description below, guys. And I will talk to you guys, Raptors edition, later on tonight as they're at halftime right now against the Orlando Magic. And as for the Toronto Maple Leafs, as we talked about, their next game is tomorrow against Detroit. I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to get the video uploaded to you guys tomorrow night. I will do my very best, but no guarantees tomorrow the Leafs and Red Wings video will be uploaded, all right? So you know what, guys? Thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and are excited for 8 more years of Morgan Rielly, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll talk to you guys then.